giving up a voice inside my coffee cup.
I'm 2 cups in on my coffee break.
I need a cup of coffee and a couple dollars change.
Way down among Brazilians, coffee beans grow by the billions.
Coffee is just water dressed in brown.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee with Norm. So thrilled you're here today, and thank you so much for being here. This is your morning wake-up call where we discuss topics around leadership and achievement, in particular your personal leadership and achievement, professional, and even your organizational achievement and effectiveness, because we go through all the whole areas, and all 3 areas are all interconnected. So we focus on those things, and it's one of the reasons why I love doing this. It's such a powerful thing to do, and we've got great people watching, so we really appreciate that. So today's topic is around, again, empowering and inspirational leadership, but in particular, it's about agreements. And it's about agreements because agreements run the world. They run your world, they run my world, they run your organization's world, they literally run everything. And I'll make a point here. If your life, if your career and your job or your organization is not doing well or not running well, one of the key things that we train people on is how to look at or take a look at, are our agreements in place? Are they strong? Are we honoring them? All that good stuff. Nothing makes something sloppier than a group of people or individuals not honoring their agreement. So it's something we're going to discuss today. We'll be out of here in about 10 minutes. A really powerful concept. It's something for all of us to take a good look at, because we all make agreements daily. Most of us make agreements not even being present or where you're making them. One of the things you'll discover if you start working on this process is how many of those agreements you actually make in a day or don't make in a day. And if you do make them, how sloppy they tend to be. I promise you there's something you're going to find out. So again, they run the world. And so it's important that you as an individual are clear on how you are handling your agreements. So, and agreements are actually simple, they can be really simple examples. So example for the work agreement. The agreement is you go to work, they pay you X amount of dollars. Pretty simple. You do a good job, of course. That's part of the agreement. So if any one of those sides of the agreement stops, then the whole agreement goes to heck, right? So if they stop paying you, that agreement's done. If you stop doing a good job of showing up for work, that agreement's done. It's that simple, right? Not all of them are that simple, but that's a great way to look at it. Just get a handle on, it's almost black and white. Is it working or not working? Did we do it or did we not do it? Not much interpretation there. So be clear, delegation, which is a big part of leadership, is making agreements. And empowering, strong, inspirational delegation is making empowering, strong agreements. And that's really what delegation is. So delegation at its core basically is a request. You're asking somebody to do something. And I know that might seem strange to some of you as leaders. So when you give your orders and your demands and all that good stuff, even if you demand to do that to somebody, you threaten somebody with a job, depending on how bad it has gotten, the thought process is the same for that individual. So if you threaten or demand, or you don't even make a request, you don't ask them to do something, the thought process is, well, quickly, do I want to do this? Am I going to do this? That's what happens no matter what. Check it on yourself. We all stop. Even though somebody says, you better do this. Well, stop. Everyone stops. You go, wait a minute. Am I going to do this or not? That's the thought process. It happens every time, no matter what the problem is, no matter what the situation is. That person will stop and go, I'm going to decide to do this right now. And it happens in a nanosecond, right? Not only does it it provides them an opportunity, or actually makes them think about if they're going to want to do it. It actually makes them decide if they're going to do it well or not. So how you make those requests depends on the quality and the effectiveness of that getting done. And your job as a leader is to make sure that your organization runs well, and the agreements run in place and things are working. So asking, a thing to remember, you can't make anybody do anything. If you have that mindset, that's such an old mindset. You cannot make anybody do anything, because that whole process I just spoke about, they'll decide if they're going to do it or not, or they're going to walk, or decide if they're going to do it really terribly because I'll get it done, but I'm not going to do it well for this Jamoke, etc. So you can't make anybody do anything. If you don't get that, you're going to have to figure that out fairly soon, because you might be part of the problem if your organization is not working well. So asking and requesting promotes engagement and buy-in, right? Pretty simple. It provides self-respect. It provides dignity to that person. It doesn't mean you have to be all gentle. Will you do me a favor? It doesn't mean that. You can be strong. It can be a strong request. I need you to do this for me today. How can we figure this out? And can you do this for me? It can be like that, right? But be clear, it's a request. That's a huge shift in some of your mindsets. You've got to get that's actually what's going on. And if you're the type of leader that's got to demand and push or threaten, boy, things are probably not well there, and you've made some mistakes for quite a while along the way to get the situation to that point. And we might get back to that a little bit here as well. So you can't be an empowering and inspiring leader without understanding this, understand that this is a request. And it is our job as leaders to get this work done as effectively and as cleanly as possible. So whatever that takes is what we've got to do here, right? It's really, really, really important. So back to the discussion about an agreement, delegating, empowering people, inspiring people. Two key roles show up. First one is this, and I found this out after doing this for 20, 25 years, somewhere around there. And I found this to be true if you can create the culture and the context to feed that. Everybody wants to do a good job and be engaged in their work. Everybody. Now, they might not show that. They might not know how to do that. They might not have been exposed to how that can be, how can that be part of their life, but that's part of your job as well. Everybody wants to do a good job and be engaged in their work. You've got to keep that in the back of your head when speaking with people. This person wants to be engaged. This person wants to be the world's best employee. How do I get that to happen? That's our job as leaders, to figure out how to keep creating that culture and that situation for both individuals and the group. There's some key steps to creating a clear agreement, but be clear. Once you ask somebody of something and they agree to do it, that's an agreement. An agreement is basically a promise. I'm going to do something for you. That's how to look at it. And it's an important thing. It's the key for self-respect and dignity. So when it comes to holding people accountable to that, we'll get into that. It's a big part of your job. So here's some key steps for a clear, strong, empowering agreement. You need to make that request, right? But however you want to do it, make a clear, concise request, making sure to use direct language. Don't assume anything, right? Don't assume that this person's just going to do it, or they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Get really clear and make sure you clarify everything as you go along the way. And you want to wait for responses, right? So when you ask somebody to do something, or hey, can you do this for me? You want to wait for that response, and they might have some questions about that, and that's fine. You want to allow that. So you want to start off with that. And then once you get going, it's important to describe the whole scenario, what the agreement is. In particular, who do you want to be involved in the action? Could it be just this person, or that you and your team, whatever it may be? You want to get clear on who you want to have involved in this delegation, this request. Describe what the action, what the result is that you want. What do you want to get done? What's the job to be done? You want to decide on when the agreement will be completed. And you have a leader have some deadlines that you've got to work with, right? But it's still part of the request, because you've got to be clear that your team or your person working and if they're working hard and being a great employee, they've got other responsibilities as well. So make sure you're honoring that and you make that request and make sure that you can negotiate when that needs to be done if negotiation is available and only if you can allow that or there's time in your calendar to time in the process to get this done. Once you come up with a completion date, this is key here. You want to have that person or the team members put it in their phone or in their calendar, wherever they hold their calendars. This is the deadline. So many times we say, hey, can you do this for me? And we don't clarify when, and that makes it sloppy right off the bat. So yeah, I'll get that done. Don't you worry about that, right? Meanwhile, as a leader, you're trying to orchestrate the whole organization. And next thing you know, you're not quite sure where that request is and how that process is going and if they're making any progress. It's important that you have a completion date. And it's important that it's in everybody's calendar, so there's no questions. So you don't have to worry about it till that date. And then you want to decide how are you as leader going to be notified that the agreement's in place, that it's done. You want to make sure this step is a big part of the agreement. So when this task is done, you will notify me how. Really important. So if you don't do this, you'll find that you're probably chasing some people and you're actually end up being a babysitter at that point in time, right? As opposed to somebody coming to you and let me know that it's done. It's important that people report to you on when it's done so you do not have to worry about that. You can let it go and really worry about the things you need to worry about. It's an important step, and it sounds draconian sometimes, and it sounds to some people, it sounds like too much. And quite literally, once you practice this process, it'll become much more effective and you'll save so much time, I promise you. So if people are not clear on what the agreement is, then make sure it's clarified, right? So there's no questions asked, and then you guys are off and let them do that. You want to make sure that you allow time for the completion, right? You want to make sure that that's part of the situation and part of the agreement so you don't chase people down. The agreements can be done here. You're going to report to me there. I don't have to worry about anything else. After the agreement is completed, you want to make sure you respond, acknowledge, good job, or that's great. Thank you for getting it done on time or not. Whatever it is, you want to acknowledge it, right? So, and if it does not get completed on time and they don't report to you, then something broke down in the agreement and you need to figure out how you start holding people accountable. You've got to hold people accountable. We had a discussion last coffee with Norm. It's imperative. If you are not holding people accountable, I promise you, you are not an inspiring, empowering leader. You want to make sure that that happens. And there are going to be scenarios where people miss the deadline, especially when you start implementing this. If you don't already operate this way at your work, and I promise most of you do not, then it's kind of a change for them, right? And they're not used to that. So you want to allow some mess ups to happen, if you will, but you've got to decide based on the level of incompletion or them not following through, how you want to handle that. There's numerous ways to handle that. We can't get into that today, but we do that. We get into that in our self-aware leadership program. So important. An empowering leader clarifies request, clarifies delegation, is a strong delegator, is an empowering delegator, and holds his or her people accountable. That's the process. Really important. That's an effective organization. That's an organization when things are working and things are getting done. So I'm going to leave you with a mindset for the day. I would like you to focus on being clear and making empowering, clear requests of people. You can even practice that. It's a really important. You'll be amazed at how much freedom you gain through getting that as part of one of your skill sets and a mindset, right? That you take the time to follow up, take the time to map out that agreement with those steps I spoke about. If I can be any help to you, please let me know. Please reach out to me at dashstrategic.com, and you can actually just drop me a line on our Let's Meet or contact page and get a hold of me, and we'll figure out how I can be of help to you. If there's any thing else I can help you with, please take a look at the website. There's many great programs I have that are on there, and you might want to start taking a look at them. So if you have any questions, let me know. Go make a difference today. You, being a great and fearless and empowering leader, have the opportunity to make a difference in many people's lives. I invite you to do that, knowing that it's going to make a difference in your life and shift your whole company's culture. And you will be leading by example, and people want to be like that and follow you. I promise you that. Have a great day. Any questions, you let me know. I will see you all very, very soon. And be the powerful, amazing leaders that you are. Thank you so much. Go have an awesome, awesome day.